Good morning, guys. How are we?
We're good, Mike. And I suppose one or two England fans will be heading over to France for the match will be thinking, how have we made a semi-final? Because it was all doom and gloom at the start of the World Cup.
Yeah. It's an interesting way to go. I think with England, they didn't really know what their best team was, the style of play, but they've managed to figure out, and the most important thing, they've managed to win. Obviously through adversity. The first game against Argentina, losing Tom Curry after 3 minutes or whatever it was, and George Ford taking control of the game. And then, revenge against the Fijians in the last game, which I thought was a cracking game.
Oh,
And I think
yeah.
England looked better. England looked better. There's a massive step up. The quarterfinals last week were two sort of top games, and then two games that were great in their right, but at a slightly lower level. And you know, the best thing about World Cups is all form and everything else goes out the window now in the semi-final. It's all about who can turn up, who can deal with the pressure. England have got a good majority of the team that played in the 2019 World Cup final and will want revenge. And hopefully they can go out there and you read all the stuff about New Zealand and Ireland and the banter that went on before, and then New Zealand sort of got their revenge, and Sam Kane saying to Johnny Sexton, "Enjoy your retirement and don't miss your plane home tomorrow." It's sort of
Mm.
there's going to have that bit of history with these two teams, and out of all the teams that we could have played, I think this suits us best to try and get in the World Cup final.
Mike, how does Steve Borthwick approach the game? Will he look at South Africa, their strengths, and say, right, no, we need to combat that? Or do they worry about themselves and say, look, we need to play 9 out of 10, every single player needs to play their part and give it a right go? Because it's interesting, because when we play football, sometimes you look at the opposition and say, look, this is how we stop their best players. Is it similar in rugby?
Yeah, I think you've always got to focus on yourself, because you've got to implement what you want to do, and you've got to play your way. But also you've got to be very aware of what South Africa is. Last week I think France were the better team, but South Africa is so good at just taking opportunities when they get them, and they defended unbelievably well. I think it was interesting. Razzie Erasmus sort of uh, talked about them needing to make the French scrum and to get them into that sort of physical battle that they want. So if I was England, I'd be just planning ways of not doing that. No,
Yeah.
don't give them set piece play. But Steve's gone for a sort of old wizened front row with Joe Marler coming back in and Dan Cole. Dan Cole needs a bit of revenge against for 4 years ago, and hopefully he can do that. And if England play smart enough, I think they can stay in the arm wrestle and they'll be in it towards the end. And what we've seen over last week was it's one play. One play can dictate where the games go, and hopefully we can stay in it long enough to get on the right side of that.
Ray, what was the handicap England you were telling me earlier?
I think it was plus 13.
Minus
Plus 30,
plus 14.
plus 14.
Plus 14.
That could be the bet, I think, if you're going to have a little fiver on. But you think it could be closer than that, Mike?
Yeah. In my heart in my head, I think it's somewhere. I think South Africa should win by 8, but in my heart, and being an Englishman and wanting revenge for 2019, I want it to be a full redemption piece and 32-12, which was the score in the World Cup final, but the other way around. England to win by 32-12, that'd be lovely.
Might bet the other semi-final. Is it, shoe-in? Is it New Zealand will be in that final, or Argentina? Can they shock the New Zealand side?
Look, I think this Argentinian team haven't started well. Obviously, they played poorly against us in the first game, but have sort of grown into the tournament. But they're up against a black machine that is just when he gets it right, is just amazing to watch. Now, the good thing is everyone has beaten New Zealand over the last sort of year or so. So there is the confidence that that you can beat this team.
Yeah.
And what Argentina have just got to go and do is, and what they do well when they are underdogs, is just go put all their passion or all their doubters and go chase it down, and they'll be everywhere. They'll be flying into tackles. They'll make it physically tough for the All Blacks, and again, you just never know. They know success against this team, but they know they've got to play at the top of their game, and if they can get everything right, you just don't know in this World Cup, which has been the best thing about it. And hopefully, Los Pumas can get near them. I mean, I don't see it. But the weather is, if the weather comes in like it's supposed to, it's okay at the moment. But if it comes in raining, that just throws another spanner in the works and makes it a scrap, which Argentina love a scrap.
Are you heading out there, Mike, for the semi? And if England get the final, will you get over to France?
Yeah, no, I'm here. I'm sort of the Eiffel Tower is somewhere around the corner. I think there's a nice lunch on the cards today. You know that, Alan and Ray. You both know a nice lunch. So some nice little place in Paris, and then we'll head out there later and see what happens.
Enjoy, mate. Thank you very much for joining us, Mike. Thank you.
talkSPORT Breakfast with Alan Brazil. Thursday and Friday morning, 6 till 10. On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.